right.
Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm here today with my 3 favorite guys in the whole world. We have Kevin DiVirgilio, the leader of the Oak Park office and the most disciplined human being I've ever met in my life.
Wow.
Hey buddy, what's up?
Not much. How are you, Jamie?
I'm good. How's your day?
It's going well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's the best part of your day so far?
The best part of my day so far.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good question. It's been a great day. Maybe the 20 minutes I spent in the driving range.
Ooh. Did you improve?
Not sure.
Okay.
So I hit a few
what'd you work
balls.
on?
I worked on a little draw shot. Little punch draw.
Okay.
Yeah.
What club?
5-iron.
Eh,
What was that noise that just you made?
Keeps me out of trouble. when
That
I'm in
means
the
I
woods.
can't do any of that, so I'm really
Oh.
confused.
Gotcha. So I'm super excited that Kevin's here, and it's really weird that he's here, because I have 3 of my favorite men that absolutely drive me fucking nuts, all day, every day. And Devo generally doesn't hit that criteria, except for yesterday. He called me 6 times in a row.
This is not a fact.
I have the screenshot. He called
So
me
do I.
6 times in a row within 2 minutes. And then I called him and I said, bro, what are you doing? Why do you keep calling me? And he tried to deny it. So I had to send him over 6 missed calls.
If there's anything that drives Jamie nuts is it's a double tap, triple tap, quadruple tap.
She must love me because I never call her.
I think 6 took the cake, though. That's more than Chandler's ever
I
done.
did not call you. I called you twice. It was a double tap. I'll give it that. But the 6 is just a malfunction of the device.
Oh, God.
What was the urgency? Why'd you have to get a hold of her
Yeah.
so badly?
Was not urgent.
Let's pretend it was a double tap. Why was there a double tap? No
Double
urgency.
tap for no reason. Just wanted to see how you did. I just want to say hi.
Wow.
That's it.
Which is
Just
nice.
care about you.
Wow.
That's really
Cares about you.
Great answer.
That was a good answer.
What's up, Devo?
Not much, Dave. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good.
So let's get started. So tell us in the audience about your life's journey. So what did you do before you got into real estate, and what attracted you to Real Team?
All right. Where are we starting? How old am I?
How old are you?
3.
Right now, I'm
Age of 3.
age of 3.
Start at 3.
Just what did you do before you got into real estate?
Before I got into real estate, I played professional hockey, and I did that for 7 years. Out of college, I went to St. Lawrence University in upstate New York, and I was fortunate enough to sign a contract with the Dallas Stars, an entry-level contract, which landed me in the American Hockey League in Austin, Texas.
Did you have an agent at that time?
I did.
You did.
I did.
How'd you choose your agent?
They kind of choose you, so you get you get recruited by them, and I was with 2 different agents throughout my career, 2 different companies, I guess. Octagon was the first one with Brian Deasley. They kind of represented me through, and then I decided not to go to the OHL, so they gassed me. And
Peace.
once I got into school, I had a couple different agents kind of recruiting me, and a guy named Ron Chipperfield out of Winnipeg was the guy.
That sounds
I
like
worked
such an agent.
Right.
Ron
Ron
Chipperfield.
Chipperfield.
Can they make contact with you while you're playing NCAA sports?
with. Yes, they can.
They can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Is that the same for all athletics, or
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
You can have that.
interesting.
Well, they're not your agent at the time.
Right.
They're your advisor.
they can send you emails and call you and
Yep.
talk to you, chat you up?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They
Cool.
usually come visit and take you
So
out
did
for
you have
lunch.
more than one to choose from?
Yeah, I had a few different ones. Octagon actually came back and tried to get me back under their wing,
Huh.
the agency that gassed me. But I had some choices, and I had some, not really a hard choice to make. It was, Ron was someone that was working with a couple players on my team at the time at school, and he landed them some pretty good deals. So I was like, well, seems like a good guy. He's working the whole team right now. Let's stay involved with him.
So that's why you chose him.
Yeah.
Is because everybody around you was doing the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, my class. Out of our class, we had 9 in our class on our team, and 4 of us ended up signing professional contracts, and he represented all 4 of us.
What was St. Lawrence like as far as competitiveness? Like how'd you guys do?
My 4 years that we were there, we were very competitive. So 2 of the 4 years we made the NCAA tournament. It's a small school. It's 3,600 students, so there's not a whole lot of people there. And then the big attraction on campus was the Division I hockey, because it was the only Division I sport. So
You guys were like the kings of the school, weren't you?
we were the kings of basically a high school. So it was the size of a high school.
What was your best statistical season of all time? Pro, college, you name it.
It was pro. Actually, it was actually midget hockey.
Whoa.
It was when I was 16 years old. I played for Little Caesars, and it was my last year midget, and I had 168 points,
Wow.
which beat Mike Madonna's record.
Wow.
That's awesome. That's a cool, unique fact.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I still hold that record,
Really?
168
Unbroken?
points.
unbroken.
Unbroken for the last 30 years, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. So that was a pretty cool feat. Yeah, that's my best statistical season.
All right, so you get your agent and
Yeah,
graduate college.
graduate college.
You got a degree, right?
I got one.
Wow, congratulations.
Economics.
In what? Economics. Econ major, eh?
Econ major. Yeah.
Interesting.
Sweet.
What
I
they
didn't
got?
know-
If you
I didn't
know
know
Devo
that.
at all, it is super interesting.
Can you
I
talk
did
to me
not
about
know.
the current inverted yield curve and how that's going to impact 2020?
I could draw you a picture.
All right, Danny Schick.
It might have a dog
Here's
on
the
it.
card.
I'm glad you brought that up, Tom. I take on an interest in the inverted yield curve.
Yeah.
You want to share with the agents of our team what the inverted yield curve actually means?
Sure. Basically, it means that when you look at interest rates, and let's just say you're looking at the treasuries, the U.S. treasuries, an inverted yield curve is when they will actually pay you less at the longer end of the curve. So, for example, say you could imagine you're going to the bank and you want to get a CD, and it's a 10-year CD. They'll give you, say, 2.5%. Well, you could get a 3-month CD, and they'll pay you 3%. Right? Why? So what would you do? You would always do the shorter term with the more interest, right?
Sure.
So it's basically because, investors believe that, inflation is going to be higher. So they want to shorten the term that they lend their money out.
So that's not typically the case, right? The 10-year usually outperforms the 3-year.
Correct.
In theory, right?
Yes. Usually the shorter the term, the less interest.
Right, because there's less risk.
When it's inverted, basically it's signaling a possible recession.
Right. That's interesting. So do you think that a recession would negatively or positively affect the real estate market?
Most people think negatively because they think back to 2006, 7, and 8. But if you really look at it, back then, the recession started because of the real estate market. That's not typical, right? That's very untypical.
Sure.
Typically what you see is when a recession happens, rates come down quite a bit, interest rates. So actually the housing market tends to do better in a recession.
It's interesting, right?
Prices don't do as well, but you still have a lot of buyers out there because now they're at a point where they qualify for mortgages because rates have come down so much.
Pretty good stuff.
So
Pretty good stuff. Devo, what do you think of the interest rates right now?
I mean, they're great right now. They're super low, and it's given a lot of buyers, and especially first-time buyers, urgency and the ability to purchase homes and become homeowners, live the American dream.
For sure. So let me ask you, so how long have you been with Real Team?
3 years.
3 years. And
Terrific.
so how did you get your business started? Like how did you
Can we
build?
back up? Because he didn't finish his initial story of just how he got into real estate and
Oh,
why
yeah.
he chose Real Team.
Kind of jumped the gun, eh?
Yeah, I jumped the gun a little bit.
It's all you, man.
All right.
out of college?
Yeah, out of college, went over to Austin, Texas, in the American Hockey League. Started my career there. I had a 2-year entry-level contract.
Hold on, slow down now.
All right.
So professional. Now you're in professional hockey now, right?
Yes.
So I'm guessing that a guy that's played hockey his whole life, like you get a professional contract and you're at the pinnacle, like you made it. Did you feel that way?
I did feel that way. And it was
the reality?
short-lived.
Okay.
Because when you get to the level where in college, I was a very good college hockey player. The next step is not just a step; it's a leap. Going from college hockey to NHL camp, and being on the sheet with guys like Mike Modano, Mike Ribeiro, the level of talent and the strength and size and speed of the game is 10x in comparison to college hockey. So you have to skate faster, shoot harder, hit harder. Everything's has to be on, and there's no off. There's no messing around. Practice was so stressful. You had to be so focused because if you're missing a pass, you're not hitting someone on the tape, like that could be it. Like people just don't miss. So it was definitely eye-opening. And I was fortunate enough to have a great team with a ton of veterans. So I got to learn a lot from those guys. Didn't get to play that much, but I got to learn a lot and watch a team go all the way to the championship and end up losing. But we got to the Calder Cup and we made a run at it. So it was a good experience to be a part of that.
Wow. It's just funny, you think you hit the pinnacle and then you're like, oh, I'm here. It's not, you couldn't rest, right? It wasn't like you could enjoy much of it.
No, I had to gain 20 pounds. I had to keep those 20 pounds on.
And be faster. And it was tough. It was, your diet, you have a nutritionist, you have trainers. I mean, you have some of those things in school, but it's just a different level. It's very businesslike, and there's no fun in games really for the most part. So what happened in that league? What was the conclusion for you in that league?
Well, I wrote it out that first year. Got injured after 20 games, separated my shoulder, so I ended up missing about 30 games that first year with a shoulder separation and dislocation and some rehab and things like that. So when I came off my injury, they sent me down to the AA League in Idaho. Played a few games down there, did pretty well, and then playoff time came around and went back up. And at that point, the roster and the team was healthy, so I was kind of the extra guy. We had 2 healthy scratches every night, and that was one of them through the playoff. Got a game in. We had a guy get sick, and fortunately, our team stayed healthy, which you don't see it in playoffs. You see guys dropping like flies. But the team stayed healthy. The only one that went down was our goalie. So the backup goalie got a shot.
And played well.
And he played well. Yeah, he got us there. He got us to the ship. So, but, after that first season, the following season, it was kind of, every year an NHL team gets 52 NHL contracts. And they're going to sign a lot more guys. They have another draft. And it gets competitive again. At that point, it was the pecking order was a little bit tough. I thought about where I was and what I wanted to do with the sport, and I knew I wanted to go to Europe and at least see the world and have that experience. So I decided.
How old were you then?
I would have been 22.
Oh, wow.
22.
You're a kid,
when I was
dude.
22.
Yeah.
You're a kid.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so 22 I went over. I started the career in Norway. Did a year in Norway in Oslo, which is a lot of fun.
Aren't the people there the best?
Amazing. Quality of life it's just slower. It's beautiful. It was cold, but it was great. Dark and cold, but the people were great.
Not a lot of sunshine.
No, not so much. But that was my first European experience. From there I went over and ended up signing in Sweden. I had a year in Sweden, where the mentality was a lot closer to what we see in North America with an NHL program. Very serious. And in Sweden, they're only allowed 2 North American players. So I was one of 2, and it's very high pressure because, they have great hockey players there. So being an imported player, typically you're getting paid a little bit more. They're putting you up in a house. They're taking care of everything for you. So they expect, peak performance out of you. And it was good. I had a good season. Our team didn't fare great, but I finished out the year there, and from there I went over to the Austrian League. I ended up playing in Slovenia, in Ljubljana, which was, I never even heard of it till I got there, and it's a really cool place, a really cool part of the world, and we played a season over in Ljubljana. Had a good season. From there, it was okay. Do I want to stick to the Austrian League or do I just want to go where the money is? And I chased the cash. I just had my agent find me the best deal and the most amount of money. And that ended up ending me in Italy, in the northern Italian Alps, where we had 9 teams in the Alps and a few teams in Austria that played in the league there. And I did have an Italian passport, so that allowed me, I had to play 2 years in Italy to be eligible to play on the national team, be able to compete in Olympic qualifiers and things of that nature. So it was, part of that had something to do with that, being Italian.
Did you do that?
I did do that.
You played on the Italian national team?
Yes, I did.
Wow.
Yeah. That was a really cool experience. It was, I definitely had to brush up on my Italian and because the Italian national team, they speak Italian, and that's it. Because there was I think 13 or 12 of us that were North American Italians, dual citizens, but the coach speaks Italian.
How'd you get your Italian citizenship?
My mother was born in Italy,
Oh, really?
so she was
So
a dual citizen.
you're eligible for a passport even though you were born in America?
Yep, yeah. It's it actually can go 2 bloodlines down. So even if you have a grandparent that was born there, you can apply, and typically you'll get that.
And you did it because of hockey.
I did
really?
it because of hockey.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, what was your success like over there?
Italy was awesome. I had 2 years in a team called Asiago, and a year in Brunico, which were 2 of the best. They were the best teams historically. They're super successful teams. They pretty much win every year. So first year we went to the championship, lost in Game 7.
Oh,
Second year went to the championship, played the same team, won in Game 7. And
that must have been sweet.
it was sweet. It was the first, I guess, pro championship.
Do hockey guys party after they win a Game 7 in the championship? Just wondering.
Yeah, we did. I have a few photos that my wife likes bringing up. There's one that I think we went about 48 hours without sleep, just kept her going. And there's one that I'm at some disco club, and my shirt's inside out and backwards. I got the cup on my head, and it's just it's an epic picture because I don't
Do you
remember.
go in a disco club?
I love
I'd
it.
love to see that.
Yeah, it's a hot 6 a.m. too. So
Sounds amazing.
yeah. Then we finished off, and I switched over to one other team at the end. It was a German town. Well, it's in Italy, but it's German influence. They speak German. They pretend they're German, and it was a really cool place. If you're a skier, they had a K2 ski hill, which is one of the best ski resorts in the Italian Alps. So it was literally, I lived at the foothills. Now look at that Muzzy.
It's a mustache and a half.
So Dave just pulled up a picture of Devo, which I think he'll probably put it on the HHWJ Facebook page.
Nice. Yes, it's got to go on
yeah.
the HHWJ.
It will. It'll be up there for everyone to see, but it's probably the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. Not good.
No.
You had a great salad back in the day.
Oh yeah, I had some flow.
The hair was flowing, man.
Yeah.
That's like a requirement to play hockey, right? You
Oh,
gotta,
it's
you
a
gotta
ju-
have great flow.
Yeah, junior hockey especially when you're like 15, 16, 17, gotta have flow. Gotta
Gotta-
have flow and a big chew in your mouth. Those are the 2 requirements.
15, 16.
Now he has half of that because he always has a big chew in his mouth.
They're
but-
smaller now.
All right, so you had a lot of fun and a lot of success in
Yeah.
hockey, and then you decided to do real estate.
Yeah, which is the why behind that. I don't have a really good answer. What I can tell you is, I had my assistant college hockey coach at St. Lawrence. I was pretty close with him. He was a great mentor to me, Bob Pryor. And when he left St. Lawrence, he coached a few more years in Princeton, I think. But then from there, he moved to Florida, to West Palm. And he started in real estate and became a broker, opened a small brokerage. He was recruiting me to come down to Florida, live with him, and become a real estate agent. And I never thought about it. At that point, I'm like, okay, well, I'll start taking these online classes and we'll figure it out. I did that. I got through my Florida online classes, went down to Florida, went and met Bob, took my exam, got my license over there.
You had a Florida license.
I did.
That's brutal. That's a brutal test.
What's
It's
that? 90,
way
it's
harder
90,
than
90
us.
hours,
A
right?
lot of
Yeah.
HOA. A lot
Yeah.
of HOA. Yeah.
Never knew that about you.
So we started there. We get there, and I have my wife with me, and we're talking about it, and she just gives no, puts a kibosh on. It's not going to happen. Not living down here. And okay, it is what it is. So at that point, I still had a lot of interest and passion for it. I learned a lot, I thought, and I thought maybe it was something I could be good at, and I liked the idea of eventually being able to invest in real estate. So I took the Michigan course, and then from there, I just went broker shopping. I'll be honest, I went and talked to 15-ish brokerages in the area.
It's aggressive.
Very diligent.
I went to 3 Keller Williams. I went to Jeff Glover. I went to Berkshire. I went to them all. I just got their information packets, and it was what it was. And then it wasn't until the very end of my search, and I was kind of narrowing it down. One of my old hockey friends, Todd Orlando, said, hey, I have a friend named Danny Schick that has a team called Real Team. It's in Shelby. And at the time, I was living at 22 in Shaner, which is 1 mile from the office. And so I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll go check it out. And I set up the interview, and I ended up interviewing with Miss Jamie here and Ken Hirschman. And I don't think they wanted to hire me because I don't interview well typically.
Whoa,
Oh, yeah.
whoa. Hold on.
No doubt. He definitely didn't want to hire you.
Ken did not want to hire you. I can tell you that for sure. And that might have been the hardest negotiation I ever drove home. I was like, this guy's going to be fucking fine. He's fine. He was an athlete. He's not. You're not good at interviewing.
No,
No.
never have been.
It was rough.
Never had
but-
any experience with it. That was the first.
Yeah, how many times have you really interviewed up to that point?
Right.
Usually
Right,
it's on
right?
the ice. You just
Yeah.
score a goal. It's your interview.
Score a
Yeah.
goal, you're in.
Yeah.
I saw your heart. I knew you were going to make it.
Yeah. So then I, kind of was sold. I love the idea of having a team atmosphere again. And, kind of, it's all I knew. So the support in the team work that I witnessed was something I wanted to be a part of. Day one, I came into the office and the Bold 100 was going on. And someone goes, hey, do you want to do this? And I'm like, sure, what's this? Didn't know what I signed up for, but that was, sink or swim at
You
that
did it, though,
point.
right?
I did it.
Hey, Devo, talk to 100 people today. Okay.
And that's what I did on day one. And, from there was a lot of, influential people.
For people that have never done that, you don't understand how hard. It doesn't sound hard when you just say it. You say a bold 100 and like, oh, okay,
It's
whatever.
hard.
It's hard.
It's 100 contacts. You talk to 100 humans in a day. That's a lot.
And it's not, like, you can't count, like, someone saying, I'm not interested in hanging up on you.
Correct.
As a contact. Like, you have to have conversations with 100 people. That's
Right.
a lot of fucking
It's not
people.
100 dials. It's
No.
not 100
No.
voicemails. It's
It was like
combos with 100 people.
9:30 till 6:37. So when I
Yeah.
think I was the last one finished. I know I was the last one
It's a
finished.
full day. It's a full day.
Yeah.
It's tough.
What were your results?
I actually put 10 leads into the system that day. That was the
Great.
goal. So I was like, oh, you should get 10 leads. And I did. All I could do at that time was cold call. So I didn't have any scripts, anything else. I mean, I had a script in front of me that I tried, but I was terrible on the phone.
What were you? Were you calling just the streets?
Calling the streets
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
he called the streets all day long.
all day long.
Sitting in the back corner
Some
of
people.
HQ. It
That's
was
what's weird. It's like some people love to call the street. I feel like when you can measure someone's confidence in talking to people on the phone based on the lead type that they're calling, right? Like if they just want a lot of surface conversations and just kind of grind through it, not a lot of confidence. They're calling like the streets, right? Did you find that in new people
Yeah.
at all?
Yeah.
Like
They
you can gauge their confidence almost based on what leads they're calling.
Right.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Because it's
That's
like
why
you
I
call
push-
through sync with people that have raised their hand and they want to talk about real estate. They stay away from those. They're a little scared of them.
It's uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable.
They want to stay in their comfort zone.
Yeah.
Our job is to get them out of their comfort zone.
Which is crazy because the comfort zone is literally way more of a grind.
Yeah.
Like calling sync's way easier
Yeah.
than calling the streets.
Yeah.
for sure.
Speaking of that, Devo, so I had my first coaching with two of your guys today,
Oh,
JJ and Cam,
nice.
and I got them both to commit to an hour of calling FSBOs a day,
Wow.
Fistbowls have been hot.
recording all of their phone calls, and not dialing in the back room anymore, so we
Nice.
can give them feedback.
Beautiful. Thank
So
you.
I'm excited about it. I think
Me
it's going to
too.
be good because they're both going to be great.
I agree. I agree.
So I hope you're listening. Don't let me down.
They're not. Don't worry about it.
All right. So back to the question I was asking you before. I absolutely forgot that you didn't answer the first question I asked you. Right.
Yeah.
So
It was good, actually.
how did you? So I feel like you answered part of that the question I'm about to ask. Is how did you get your business built, and what advice would you offer an agent starting out? Like how can they get their business going?
It's a good question. Discipline is one of them. One of the main things. I made it basically the same schedule that I had when I played. Like I had a routine. I'm a person of routine, so I woke up at the same time. I did my workout. I went in and I stuck to prospecting with specific outcomes. And not just that. I mean, you probably remember this better than I do, but I was over your shoulder. Over Danny's shoulder, Tom's shoulder, as much as possible, trying to figure out what you guys are doing, because I'd look up and you guys were our leaders, clearly our leaders by production, and you guys were making the most money and selling the most houses. So what are they doing? So I asked you guys a lot of questions and kind of leaned on you for support, and I put the hours and I talked to a lot of people and failed a lot.
It's that simple, right? Like you just have to talk to more people. You talk to more people, that's going to improve your chances of finding somebody
no
who
question.
needs to buy or sell real estate. Like it's that simple.
No
There's nothing
question.
complex about that at all. But it's people being, they're afraid to have that conversation because they don't have the experience, right? It's not necessarily that they won't be successful at it, but it's super uncomfortable. So it's challenging.
I mean, that equation is always true in sales. It's skill times effort, right? So come in, you have high effort, but low skill, you're still going to get some results. But now you look at your career and it's like pretty much top of the board for a long time. You were and probably are right now. I don't know. I haven't seen it in a while. But now your skill's there. But your effort's always stayed the same, right? Because your system's kind of the same.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't changed. I mean, it's my focuses have switched because being a store leader, there's only X amount of hours in a day, and a lot of the focus is trying to ensure that you can spend the time with the players in your team to instill the right values and the right daily routines and time blocks to build their business and allow them to grow and find success.
So what's your day look like now? When do you roll out of bed? What time is it then? And then take me through like
Typical day.
noon.
Okay. 4:40, the alarm goes off. It's not next to me, so I can't hit snooze because I will. So I have my phone across the room. Get out of bed, turn that thing off. I get to the gym by 5, and I work out for about 50 minutes. Home at 6, clean up, quick breakfast, and I'm at the office by 7.
What do you make for breakfast?
2 eggs and a smoothie.
Every day. It's
2 eggs
obnoxious.
and a
I have
smoothie.
I also have a double shot of espresso.
The same exact thing every day.
Over easy?
Every day.
Over
You don't
easy?
get bored?
Yeah, I switch it up, either scramble or over easy.
Okay.
So depending on the day,
Sometimes salt, sometimes pepper. See
Yeah.
how it feels.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Nice.
but the same thing.
What's
every
that
day.
shake all about?
The shakes, those my wife makes those, so those can be a little
Is
interesting.
she up at that time?
She will go to the gym with me probably twice a week. The other 3 days she wakes up when I come in the door.
Okay.
So she'll wake up, she'll start her day and make breakfast and go from there.
To be clear, his wife is a saint and will if she's not up, she'll wake up at 6 a.m. to make him a shake because she knows that he's going to want it.
Correct.
All right. Yeah, she loves him.
Yeah, she is a saint. She's great. 7 a.m. is our first call, my first phone call. There's a few of us on that call. We do role play and different topics. Right now we're working on our pre-qual scripts. So 7 a.m. we kind of rotate who's on the phone for that. 7:15 is my second call.
So the 7, is that the ISA call?
No,
No,
this is just a call on the 248 Uber line.
Okay.
Danny Schick, myself.
It starts at 7?
7.
So people just stay on until the 7:15?
Different line.
Oh, different line.
Different
Okay.
line, yep.
Okay.
Yep, because we have Evan DeSantis, Justin Johnson's typically on it, and a few other people jump on from here and there. Chase Breeze is on there quite a bit.
So it's all our super committed guys that are hitting the phones hard and seeing success. They're on that call to listen to the leaders build skill.
Got it.
Now we have our leadership call, 7:15. After leadership call, 7:30, I take about 30 minutes to set up my huddle, do my stats, update my board. So by 8 o'clock, I can have all that knocked out.
What's on your board?
On my board right now, I have sync notes for the month, the running track number for the month. I have yesterday's sync notes. So we want to measure yesterday. It's a 50 note requirement to be eligible to be in our pond and collect
Ooh.
P1 leads.
Okay.
So it's
So I was at Devo's store today, and he turned off every single person in his store's leads because they didn't hit their notes yesterday. It
I
was
love
amazing.
that.
I'm getting ready to start my huddle, and I'm super excited, and then
There was
all
two people on.
and all of a sudden he was like, "All right, turning off everyone's leads," and I was like, "All right, man, I'm trying to get the energy up." What
Way
are
to
you
suck
doing?
the air out of the room, huh?
I know. Okay, so you told us how you built your business. So one piece of advice to give a new agent starting out in the business.
one piece of advice is keep your head down. Don't get discouraged. You're not going to be good at this in the beginning, I promise. Don't be afraid to fail. And what you put in is 100% what you get out. Don't look at the dollars. look at the people that you're working with, and the dollars will come.
Money and numbers don't lead; they follow.
That's right. I think my first deal, I made a hot $200 on. It was a $40K leverage lead from Adam Blake. So it was.
Thanks, Blake.
Thanks, Adam.
But it felt good though, right?
It felt
like
amazing.
That first
It was
closing,
amazing.
it didn't matter. It could have been $5.
I would have paid to have that first closing. It was
Right.
awesome.
Right.
I didn't know what to do. I was so nervous. I walked in, no, I didn't do anything. I'm like, this is great. You just come to these things and collect money, and people are happy, and they get keys. This is
Okay.
awesome.
All right. So how long were you with us before you took a leadership role? Ish.
We talked about it after about 7, 8 months, and I think that it kind of came to fruition within the first year. It was not even a full year.
Okay. Why do you think they chose you?
Good question. I think that I was told I was an obvious choice because of work ethic and commitment and being able to influence people around me positively. So I think that's the answer, but I don't know if I'm the right person to answer that question. Tom?
I mean, that's it. Yeah. And I was going to say it's because you're the obvious choice. You made yourself the obvious choice, just like Dave made himself the obvious choice. When you're looking at, what at that time, maybe 45 to 50 agents,
Ish.
and all of a sudden we buy, 3 or 4 stores, it's like, okay, well, who's the obvious choice to fill these spots? And you guys rose to the top. I mean, it's simple. It's really easy. It's not a hard choice.
Right.
It wasn't like we toiled over it, like, who should we choose? It's like,
Right, it was like,
there
okay, there they are,
Of
here you
course,
go.
that's the person,
Yeah.
right?
So, you're a CSL.
Yes.
What's the hardest part of your job?
Ooh, the hardest part of my job. I would say sometimes getting overly emotional and wanting it for individuals more than they do. That's probably the hardest part. I know that, there's been some great retention. We have some great core players in every store. But losing somebody is the hardest part that you put so much time and effort into and you believed in and you knew that was so close. And I know Jamie knows that. I've gotten emotional a few times over a few of my agents that moved on.
For sure. Yeah, it's never easy, right?
Right.
You work so hard to get them on board, right? Show them the vision, get them going, get them a couple wins, get them some momentum, and then, for whatever reason they decide to leave. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge.
But to be clear, it's not, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like the hard part isn't like it's hard for you. Well, I mean, it's hard for you, but like it's not hard because you're losing them on your team or you're losing their production or anything like that, correct?
No, that's not the hard part.
It's the emotional
What's
part.
the hard part?
Losing
It's
a friend.
Yeah. It's losing, someone that you are close with, a friend, and you know that you when you part ways, hey, we're going to stay in touch. It's going to be great, but it never happens that way. You might talk once every 60 days, briefly. The relationship will never be the same.
Well, and as a leader, I think you put that all on yourself, right? Because we're talking about a career, and we bring these people in and we give them everything we have, right? And then when they leave you, it's because honestly, they thought that they could get farther ahead faster with someone else.
Right.
Right? It's like they cut you, right? You ever been cut from a team? Probably not.
No, I have. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So doesn't it feel probably kind of the same?
Yeah,
Like it's
it
like
does.
you got cut as the leader. Like these people cut you because they thought they could. They had a better person somewhere else.
Yeah. I'll never forget
It's
the
hard.
first time I got cut. That was painful. It was tough.
And whether it's in real estate or they're going to do something else, it doesn't make
Right.
it any easier.
No,
No.
not at all.
So do you? Do you just kind of deal with that, like emotionally, and then get over it, or do you actually like change something, or like how do you deal? How have you dealt with it?
Alcohol. No. I think it probably hangs over me for at least a day, maybe a little bit longer. But I try to have a short memory and tell myself it's not me that pushed him out the door. It's it's them that, for one reason or another, whatever factor is going on in their life, it doesn't make sense anymore. And you get better, as you get more weathered and you have more experience with dealing with situations like that. It never gets easier,
Right.
but it gets, I guess, your process of moving on gets
Let me ask you this:
Can I?
would you take any of them back? I'm not no names or anything,
Yeah.
but if one of them were to like, hey, Devo, it wasn't as cool as I thought it was going to be over there. I'm sorry. Can I come back? Would you open arms, bring him back in, or not?
Open arms? No. Would I bring them back in? Potentially, yeah.
Okay.
It would be on a short leash, and it would be, okay, if we're going to do this again, this is what the expectation is, and it's not going to be the same as, everyone around them. It's going to be a lot harder, because if they're going to take more time and out of the time I could spend either, with other agents or on my own business or with my family, they're going to have to be going 110%. And if they're not, it's going to be a really short-lived situation.
Cool.
That's fair. That's fair. Can I answer the original question that you asked Devo?
Sure.
From my perspective. So you asked him if he changed anything or if anything happens when people left, and I don't think that he knows that he did at all. But I would have to say, as a store leader, the last 6 months-ish have probably been the roughest, right? We hit a lot of hurdles. We've hired a lot of really great guys, but we also lost a lot of really great guys that we cared about.
For sure.
So Devo doesn't know this, but, well, let me start with, he's always been a great leader, and he's always cared about his people, but he's showed that more in the last 3 months than he's ever showed that since he opened the store.
So the machine is becoming human.
Correct. So
I get that.
he's still the most disciplined, and he's still a machine. It's still very annoying to see how disciplined he is all the time. However, his emotional care factor that I see, like when he's talking to his people and when he's talking to me about his people, is a complete 180. So you don't know that it's changed, and not that I would ever say that losing those people was a good thing, because obviously we miss them and we would love them back on the team. However, it's made you a better leader. It really has, and I can see it day in and day out, and your people feel it.
Cool. Well, thank you. I did not know that. It's good feedback.
Right.
All right. So, anybody ready for the fire round? Fire round, Devo.
Fire round.
We're gonna ask you
This is a fun round.
We're gonna ask you. We're gonna ask you some hammer questions. You got a rapid fire answer.
Rapid fire. I'm
Oh,
not
yeah.
good at that.
You can't think about it.
Can't think about it.
I
You
don't
gotta-
think ever. So.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's true. Okay.
All right. So, what's your favorite book? Business book.
Oh man.
5, 4.
Chop wood, carry water.
There you go.
Okay. Best city you've been to across the world.
Prague.
Prague.
Why?
Why? Inexpensive, beautiful, and people are really, really cool.
Cool.
I had a lot of fun there.
Who's got better hair in the NHL all time, Fedorov or Jeremy Roenick?
Yager.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Oh.
He had bangs.
Bingo.
Oh, he had a hammer haircut, but Fedorov.
Fedorov.
Between the two.
I have the next one. Rank these in order. Coachability, desire, or discipline. Rank them in order.
What's the order?
The number 1, number 2, number 3.
Most
What's most
important to least important.
Most important to least
Give
important.
me the three again.
Coachability, desire, discipline.
Discipline, coachability, desire.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. The dirtiest thing you've done to somebody in hockey,
Ooh.
and the dirtiest thing you've done to get a listing.
Oh man! In hockey, I suffered a 7-game suspension and a $10,000 fine for this.
This is great. I'm
a
excited.
Can't wait.
guy broke my hand, and I ended up trying to play through it. He knew it was broken, so he whacked me again, and I let him know if he did that again, I'm gonna knock his teeth out. And
Oh God.
the next shift, he came by after the whistle, slapped me on the hand with his stick, started laughing. So I cross-checked his teeth out.
Wow.
The chiclets. How many did you lose?
A couple. I'm not exactly sure, but when they were kind of escorting me to the box, the ref's like, "You're out of here." I dodged the ref and went back after him and started just beating the wheels off him after that. Too.
Pounded him.
The funniest part of hearing these stories about Devo is he's like the most like soft-spoken, nicest guy in the entire world.
That's
So,
why
like,
you don't get in fights anymore as an adult man, because you don't know who the other person is.
Right, like you would never expect that, but Devo's a fucking psycho. He would fucking
Hey.
kill
Devo
somebody.
will wear a pink shirt and maybe pop the collar now and then, and you'd be like, I might have a run at that guy, and then you would be in trouble.
You would be in trouble.
This is a little value add for the listeners out there. Go to YouTube and just type in Kevin DiVirgilio, and you can watch a couple fights.
There you
Really?
It's good stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
There's a
it's
few
on
on there.
YouTube? I haven't seen these yet.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
There's a couple on there for a listing. The
Did
dirtiest
you like to
thing
fight? Hold on. Did you like to fight?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was. If you look at my statistically, I was typically the head of the team in points, goals, assists, and right up there in penalty minutes too.
You
Love
played.
that.
You played Chippy.
Sure did.
Yeah. Chippy.
Love that.
You had to play chip on the shoulder.
Love
So this is Tom's question. So there are 6 personality types, right?
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell us what your number 1 and number 2 are?
Sure.
I will tell you what they are so you can choose.
He already knows.
Unless you know. You know?
I know I'm a high D and a high S,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So
Yeah, you are. However, that's
yes,
not one of the.
Yes, you absolutely
Yeah,
are. both.
100% you are. However, that's not the 6 personality types.
Oh,
So we have certainty, uncertainty,
Do you remember this?
yes, I do.
Okay.
No, I do.
significance, connection, growth, and contribution. Which 2 do you believe are the most important for
Don't
you?
answer the question. I'm going to take a guess in my mind, and then I'm going to see if I'm right.
Okay. I'll guess in my mind too.
I already know in my mind. I know Devo too well.
All right, go.
Growth and uncertainty.
Bam.
Boom. There it is.
I like it.
Yep.
I was gonna say certainty.
Nah.
Certainty for this guy?
Well, just because like I understand his passion for discipline, and to me, discipline is certainty.
I
don't
think
know.
he's so disciplined because he loves uncertainty, so he has to be disciplined, or else he fucking is gonna
Yes.
drive off the railroad.
That's
got
like
it.
like the yin and the
You got
yang,
it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
like
yeah.
he loves the uncertainty, so he has to be disciplined.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
He'd
guess I
be really
could see
bored
that.
if he had
Yeah, that
certainty.
makes sense to me. It makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense.
You
Yeah.
got it.
All right, the last and most important topic of
Ooh,
the
I
day.
like this one.
All right, so everyone in the company knows this about Devo. You got a vocabulary like I've never seen, and everybody loves it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna run a word by you, and you're gonna tell us what it means.
Got it.
All right, Jamie, go.
Tarp.
It's a shirt.
Use it in a sentence.
Tom is wearing a nice looking black Nautica tarp tonight.
Love that.
Wheels.
Skates, fast. I mean, shoes. It can be a lot of different meanings. Typically, when I use it right now, I'm talking about somebody's shoes.
Okay, give me
All right,
give me
so
an
someone's got a
example.
really
so I have
sweet
a
pair of
new
shoes.
pair. Yeah, I have a new pair of fucking Nikes on.
They're
like
hot.
great. What are you gonna tell me?
Those are some Hot Wheels.
Or some fast wheels.
Those
which I
wheels-
don't really know what that
they
Those
means,
do-
wheels look
but
fast.
Those wheels do look fast. Chandler's wheels typically look fast.
Chandler does have fast wheels.
Yeah,
I agree.
nice tassels on them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Hat rack.
Hat rack is a head. Someone's head, and typically I use that in a sentence. It's not just a hat rack.
There it is.
Which is probably my favorite statement of Devo's.
Step into it.
So yeah, we're
Devo,
gonna.
what
so,
does it
so-
mean to step
Yeah,
into
but hold on,
somebody?
I'm gonna parlay this
Step
with
into
another
them.
Devoism. So you have to keep it between the buoys.
Oh, I'll try.
All right, step into someone.
So if you're stepping into somebody, you could use this in so many different ways.
Let's hear it.
Do tell.
Tell me more.
So I mean, let's for example, if Dave was in a conversation with on a listing appointment, and Dave's personality style and what he does in appointments, he's a driver and he goes right after it. So I would say Dave stepped into that client and told him what's up and he got that listing signed.
Got
Okay,
it.
so yesterday none of your agents hit their sync notes.
Yeah,
So did you step into them this morning?
sure did.
Okay.
I sure did. Yeah, we're gonna have to.
So you
kinda
stepped into the
regroup.
guy with no teeth.
Yep, I did step into.
You
him.
stepped into him for sure.
Yeah,
So stepping into someone is just being aggressive in any way,
You
shape,
got
or
it.
form.
Yeah. It's just
Aggressive engagement.
it's
Yeah.
aggressive engagement. It's just. There's not a whole lot of thought before you step into someone. You just step into them.
Like once a month, Devo calls me and he doesn't even say hello. He'll just call me after his huddle and be like, I just stepped into him. I'm like, all right, man, what did you do? What happened?
So we had this really funny memory. Devo brings it up to me every now and then. But when he first started, he's like, "Hey, Dave," he's like, "I really need help with this listing appointment later today." And I'm like, "Well, what do you need?" He's like, "I need somebody to go on. I want to shadow someone to see how they do it." So Devo, I'll let you take it from here. But I'll never forget that listing appointment. It was on Shaner.
Yeah, Mrs.
and
Buscemi.
Warren. Yeah.
Linda, I still talk to Linda. I'm still talking to Linda.
3 years later.
3 years later.
Still nurturing.
Still nurturing her. She had a FSBO sign up the other day. Not online, but we're getting closer. We're getting closer. That was a great appointment. We go in there, and Dave shows up, and Dave's my mentor, and I'm looking up to him, and we go in there, and Dave steps in to list Mrs. Buscemi. He literally he just steps. He's like, "Here's the numbers. Here's what it is." She had this number in mind. She wanted an astronomical price for her home. And he's like, "Here's what it is. Here's the stats. Here's where you need to be priced. So you list the house with me today?" And I was like, "What is going on?" I'm like, I didn't know what to do. I'm like, I just try to make him my best friend. And Dave's like, no. This is how we're going to do it.
We're gonna step
this
into
is,
her.
we're gonna, this is our marketing plan. This is how I'm going to sell your home, and this is the money you're going to get after.
So what are you going to do here?
So what are we doing?
So you can.
And then a hard close.
Yeah.
So like you can do that, and it's not always going to work, but it's going to work a pretty good amount of the time.
Yeah, it's working for you, man.
Yeah, I mean, but like sometimes, but
It'll work better than not closing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't close on my listing appointment today because I knew that based on the guy's personality type that he'd call me. So so it's like, and you guys ever watch basketball? So who was the master of pulling the chair?
Devo doesn't watch basketball. He calls it handball. He's
yeah,
not
he called it
interested.
a handball.
James Harden.
Right. So he'd pull the chair out on you backing up in the box, and then you just pull the chair and they fall, and then you get the ball turnover. Right. So like I call it in my head, pulling the chair. So like I went in today. I sat down, talked with him, and I could tell he really liked what I had to say, and he really liked the number. And there was no need for me to push him because I know he's going to make his decision and call me. You know what I mean? So like a lot of times I won't hard close. I know when to do it, but a lot of times I don't.
Yeah.
Do you ever do that?
Yeah, no, it's a mirror and match. You gotta know the client that's across from you, and I've had a similar situation like that as well. I had one of my maybe the biggest listing I had in Shelby. It was like a 520. Very soft spoken, individual and family. I think we ended up doing a prayer at the house, but it was intense. But they weren't a hard close. They had interviews. They were going to do them. I knew that, and I knew they'd call me. And sure as shit, they called me, and we listed that baby and sold it in a day.
You guys got sold pretty quick. I remember that one. It was like, what, 22 in Shaner?
22 in Shaner. Yeah. Golden.
Was I in that?
You sure
Golden
were.
Golden Park?
Golden Park.
Oh,
Lori
Golden Park,
and Chris.
baby.
Lori and Chris.
550 sold in a day.
Yeah,
Full commission.
full commission.
Bang.
Yeah.
So I remember you got that listing. I was like, fuck does this guy get this listing from?
P1.
Right?
P1?
That was a P1.
That's where the competitiveness started
Have
between
you-
the two of you.
Have
Yeah.
you? Can I ask both of you to sell something? Have you noticed a difference in the lead flow right now?
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Big
Yeah?
time.
Yeah.
Lots of leads to
Are
call.
people excited?
Super excited.
Are they?
Yeah.
Do you feel like a difference at all with
Yeah.
just on the floor, on the sales floor?
Absolutely. The people that are, they're grinding out and picking up these leads and working them every day consistently. The Evan DeSantis, Kevin Bro, the list goes
The
on.
grinders.
The grinders.
Yeah.
Brojack wrote 2 Zillow deals yesterday, got them both under highest and best in one day. I mean, that's just a huge win for, the dollars and the resources that we give to our agents. It's just, we got to see that, and everyone's got to hear about it.
Right.
Because it was, what is it, 270 in business, 280 in business, maybe more. I don't even
mean,
know what it was.
It's a big confidence boost, right? Like
Yeah.
you get a win. You guys, you get a win, and there's no better feeling, right? Like
There's no better thing we can give somebody new in real estate is a win. That's the number. Like, it's not a pat on the back. It's not advice. It's nothing more than a win.
Yeah.
Yep,
That's exactly it.
for sure. Well, that was great. Thanks for coming, man.
Well, thanks for having me. It's a blast.
Yeah.
Did you have fun? Was it better than you expected?
It was.
It's
Yeah.
easier, right?
It was
Devo-
easy.
Yeah. What do you mean? Devo this morning, he's like, so what's the topic? I was like, fuck you. Don't ask me that question. You find out. And he's like, I'm supposed to wing it. And I was like, believe me, we got questions for you, bub. We're totally fine.
Yeah, it's nice. Right across the street from my house, this place. So
Right?
It was
Love that.
beautiful. Yeah.
It's great.
Awesome.
Thanks, Devo. Thanks for hanging out
Who do
with
we
us.
got next week or
It
next time?
was a lot of fun hanging out with you. This is me procrastinating so I can look to see who
Jamie
our
doesn't
next
know.
one
Just say
is.
I don't
Jamie
know.
doesn't know.
No, I'm glad you guys asked because next week we have Evan DeCantis, which is Devo's, in my opinion, right now, biggest up and comer. I'm sorry, the rest of OP, but I truly believe that.
Wow, quite an endorsement.
Yeah, Evan's doing great. He's
So
got some
I'm excited
momentum.
about Evan. Sometimes I want to kick him in the mouth like I did this morning. He wouldn't stop rapping.
Yeah.
I can't wait because I don't know any of his backstory.
Oh, he is just a handful. He's
He
great.
loves to hear his own voice,
Ooh.
but he's great
He's
with
gonna love
clients.
this.
Well, so hold on. So while we're on this topic, real quick,
Oh,
we still
boy,
got a
here we
couple
go.
minutes. We still got a
I
couple
like
minutes.
it.
So Evan, right? So like, Evan was struggling just a short time ago, wasn't he?
He was.
Like, wasn't he having some mental? Like, he was like he was.
He told me he was
Second
all
guess-
set.
He was second guessing
Yeah,
himself
yeah,
exactly.
in the process and everything in between. And Evans is somebody that is very disciplined as well. I mean, he's at the gym with me every morning. He gets in the office the same time I do. He role plays with me every single day. And he's 21 or 22 maybe now. I think he just turned 22.
He just turned
He's 22 years old. He's got $1.6 million in this pipeline, I believe, right now. That's going to be closing. Believe in the process and stick with it is the biggest message I had for him. And just everything I can to keep pushing him. I'm like, it's going to happen, and the pipeline's still full. Like, he's not done eating. He's very frugal. He won't buy himself a new phone. Dave, can you, if he's listening, can you please tell him he needs to invest in a new phone? It took me 3 months to get him a laptop.
Listen, he was mad.
Guy's gonna make 20 grand in the next 5
Listen,
weeks.
Devo told me to get him a new phone, and Evan said, they want to charge me $30 a month. Fuck that.
He's like, over 2 years. Do you know what that is? I'm like, I don't want to figure it out. Who cares? You need it.
Here's what you need to do. You need to say 1.6 million times 0.03 times 0.5.
like,
That's
the
going in
cool-
your bank account in the next 5 weeks.
Yeah.
The
And
cool part about Evan is naturally, I think as humans we love instant gratification, but especially like the people in his age range, right? The millennials or whatever you fucking call them. They need
You're a
instant.
millennial.
Yeah, you're talking about your own peeps.
I don't know. When's it, what's a millennial?
You
Can you give me like a date range?
born like 86 plus.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I'm a millennial.
little
Okay,
younger.
so younger millennials, like 21, 22,
I
23.
think it's 90s.
Yeah, so we see it all the time, but like instant gratification is huge, right? Like
Yeah.
they're working so fucking hard and they're like, I'm not making any fucking money. Why am I doing this? This is stupid. I can go do this. And like the cool thing about Evan is, yeah, there was a point where he got kind of down on himself, but it took a few just like conversations with Devo, and Devo had so much influence over Evan that Evan was like, all right, fuck it. I'll do it. And he spends $10 a week
Yeah.
to make it right now.
And the best thing about Evan DeSantis is his big why has been the same since day one, and it's to have the ability to travel to Greece and Italy. And he's doing that.
That's great.
Good for him.
That,
He's
like
going
it's
to
in the
Greece and
books.
Italy. Yeah,
It's in the books.
He's in the process of planning it. I'm
Isn't
helping
that
him
the
out.
best part of being a leader? Is like when somebody sits down with you at coaching and they tell you what their goals are, and then
Yeah.
fast forward and they hit them.
I'm excited for
So cool.
building the next goal for him. It's like we've been focused on this for over a year, and now you're doing it. You're going to be in Italy. You're going to be in Greece. You're going to live that dream.
So what are you going to do now?
What are you going to do next?
That's
What's
gonna
next?
motivate him so much
For sure.
that it's gonna take him to the next level. It's gonna be pretty cool to see. So we'll see Evan next show. What, in 2 weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks from
So
today.
Thanks for listening, Devo. Thanks again for coming on, Tommy,
Thanks, Devo.
Thanks all.
Jamie.
Yeah. Thanks,
See you
Jamie,
guys next time.
Tom, Dave. Thank you.
Love you guys. Bye.
Ciao.